Hey, what's up? It's the pilot. Hey, okay, I'm doing something a little bit different today. I saw something online. I went to BBC website. I don't know if I saw something on Instagram, and I was like, hey, they had some tie-dye pants on there and the tie-dye sweatsuit, and all together it was like $300 or $400. I'm like, I can do that shit myself. I can tie-dye myself. So I went online and found a couple of guys doing some tie-dye. I was like, I'm for sure I can do this myself. So we're gonna see how bad or how good I put these sweats together. Now, I've already went through the hard part of the process to me, which is lining your pants up to be dyed. So to me, honestly, I don't think that you can mess them up too bad as far as the tie-dye, but it just depends. I picked 4 different colors. These are some sweatpants that I'm not gonna do, but I've already done the process of spinning it and putting it in a tie-dye pattern and rubber banding it, so I don't wanna redo it. The pants that I'm using are white sweatpants, BBC sweatpants that I don't wear, but I'm gonna show you what I did with these real quick. Let me see if I got rubber bands in here somewhere. Okay, so this is what I did. Okay, it's very important on how you do the pattern of it beforehand, the way you spin it, just like if you would a shirt, if you're trying to tie-dye it, all that stuff. So I didn't want to grab from the middle and spin it, so I grabbed kind of from the lower wing crotch area of it, and I spent here, okay, just like this, and I tried to keep it tight around here. Now, like, to be honest, like I said, a tie-dye is a tie-dye. The only people that are gonna really pay close attention to how you tie-dye this stuff is someone that tie-dyes the stuff themselves, or somebody that's really gonna critique the way you dressed or the way it's tie-dyed. But who cares? If the colors are right, it's at the end of the day, you're just gonna see somebody with a tie-dye shirt or a tie-dye pair of sweatpants. You're not gonna be thinking about, oh, how did they do it? How's the pattern? The pattern's not right. So I just spent it around from the middle crotch area, and I put rubber bands around it just like this. Okay, all the way around. I can sit here and do this, but you guys get the gist of it. The main thing you want to do is try to keep that pattern of the spin. So I wanted to have a spin in the middle, and you just add a bunch of rubber bands around. You don't want to overdo the rubber bands, but at the same time, you want it to stay closed. Now, to let me know what it's going to look like, I spent it around and I unraveled it to see where the creases will be in the sweatpants. So when I undo it, you can kind of see right here. Come here a little bit close, cameraman. Okay, you can kind of see where the pattern or where the creases would be in the pants when I unraveled it. So that let me know that I was doing it correctly. And then when I unraveled it all together, you can kind of see where the wrinkles would be when you spin it. You see that? So when I spin it, when I started to spin it, I just started to gather it up together. So it's a pair of white sweatpants. All right. So this is the start of, this is one of the main parts and components of it. Now, listen, I've never done this before, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come out right. Make sure if you watch my video, look at other guys' videos if you want to have different types of patterns. But I want to have that spin pattern, and I want to start it right here at the bottom of the crotch so it spreads out around here instead of having it right smack in the middle. Hey guys, I did a shirt. I went ahead and did another BBC shirt that I have that I don't wear, and I spent it around. So this is what it's gonna look like when you go ahead and tie it up. And we'll get to the other part here in a second, but I went ahead and did a shirt as well. And I want to see how it's gonna turn out, man. It may turn out really good. It may turn out horrible, but these are both items that I don't care about. Now, with some of you guys, if you go and do this stuff, you want to start off by do a trial run with a shirt that you don't like, or get an old Hanes shirt or old white shirt that's beat up and probably got armpit stains or something, and try that out first and see how it works. But with me, with both of these items, I want to go ahead and just get it done, because I've done tie-dye and stuff before, but I haven't done an actual tie-dye. I've done like bleach dyeing and stuff like that, and I watched enough videos. So, yeah, so this is what the shirt is going to look like. All right, guys. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm using RIT dye. Okay, I have a neon green, which is going to be the accent color. I'm not going to use that as much. I'm using the navy blue. I'm using pearl gray, which will probably show up really light in it.
and I'm using royal blue as well. I know those are a little weird colors to use, but it is what it is. I bought some squeegee thingies, some ketchup holders, ketchup mustard holder thingies from the dollar store. I don't know what it's called where you're from. It's called Dollar Tree here in Texas, or where I'm at. But I'm going to pour the dye directly in there. No, I'm not going to dilute it. I'm not going to put any extra water in it. I'm just going to go straight for the gusto with these and see what happens.
Yeah, so when you do this, man, it's really important that you go ahead and get those water bottles or those dispensary bottles or whatever you want to call them and use them. I filled up all 4 of those with different colors. I didn't add any water to it. And guys, be really careful with the dye. Make sure you close the cap, man, because once that dye hits something, it's done, man. It's hard to get it out. You got to hurry up and get it out. And you can have drops laid out all over the place in your house and you not know it because it's squirting out of there. And you go back later like, what is this big stain on my floor? But I filled up all 3 of those, all 4 of those. And then I went outside, I laid down a plastic bag and went from there.
Yeah, so I kind of figured out what I was doing wrong. I don't know if it's going to work, but this is probably the best solution in my mind. I'm going to take this and do this close up. It's not really taking, the material is kind of tight and thick, and it's not really taking as much if I just squirt it on there. So I got to kind of get up close to it. Cameraman, get a little.
All right, so you can see me out there being a dumbass. And the reason why the dye is not taking because those sweatpants right there are completely dry. What you need to do is before you start to dye and apply the dye, you have to wetten the shirt. You don't want to saturate it, but you want to get it wet to where the moisture gets or the water gets into the material enough so it's easier to take the dye. My dumb ass is out here trying to dye it, and the dye is just rolling off of it because it's so dry. So make sure you make it wet before you apply the dye. Yeah, and you see me out here being a dummy. But, you know, I'm applying, even though this is dry, and it end up going through a little bit later, but you see what I'm doing. So, like, that part that looks black, that's navy. So I applied the navy on it, and I'm applying the green right here. And I'm trying to get up close because I think that works. But the whole reason is because this real thick-ass sweatpant material is dry, and it's just not wanting to take the dye. So remember, when you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other side. That's why it's kind of good to have those rubber bands right there because it kind of separates the colors, and it makes it easier for you to know what's on the other side because you don't want the back of your shirt being totally different from the front of it unless you're trying to do that on purpose. If you're trying to do that on purpose, then you would apply a different color on the back side on the flip side of the shirt. You see how that dye is just rolling off and sliding down? Now, don't freak out when it starts to bleed a little bit while you're applying it. It'll all blend together in the end, so don't worry about it. Make sure you have some paper towels with you as well while you're doing this, and just apply it to the opposite side, both sides the same color, all right?
So yeah, I'll be honest with y'all. I totally messed up the first time I did it, but you live and you learn. I washed it too fast without letting it sit, so this right here is kind of like the project gonna be trying to bleach it again and make it back right because it ended up being an all navy shirt, and it had a little bit of tie dye in it. So I'm kind of gonna redo it. But one of the key reasons why I couldn't get the color, the dye to sit when I was applying it, is because the shirt wasn't wet. So as you can see now, I have wetted up the shirt a little bit, and I went and watched some more YouTube tutorials, and they told me I need to wet it up. So I wetted it up, and it's taking the dye a whole lot better this time. So yeah, this blue is kind of getting everywhere. It's kind of controlled chaos, but it's cool. But yeah. All right. Here's the moment of truth right here. Let's see what happens. This is like hot water that I put in here. And like I said, I put like a third of this bottle in here from like all the way from the top down to here. They say I only used 4 tablespoons, but it is what it is. I want to see how it bleeds in the shirt. And the reason why I'm keeping it tied up is like when it's bunched up, it bunches up and it makes that tie-dye flaring and the light part stay light. So if I try to rinse it while it's bunched up, maybe it won't bleed on to the white spots, just like if you put the dye on these spots right here, it doesn't bleed onto the light spots on the inside of the crinkles. But let's see. I put a lot in here. Uh-oh. It's getting real dark real fast.
So naturally, if you've never done this before, you're going to freak out when you put your shirt in there, and you're gonna say, oh, especially if you got some light colors in your shirt, you're gonna say, oh man, you know that, like, I thought that green was gonna turn blue, because the first time I washed it, and the reason why it bled and totally changed the color of the shirt, and the shirt ended up being all navy blue, because I washed it in the wash, and I didn't let the dye stay in long enough. So if you let the dye stay in for about a day, 6 hours to like a day or more, that ink is gonna stay in there. So what you want to do after you put it in that dye fixative water, you just want to rinse it as much as possible. Whatever you do, if you want your colors to stay as vibrant as it is going to be in the next clip, do not wash it in the washer with laundry detergent and stuff. Just get as much dye as you can out and then hang dry it.
And this is how it came out. Fucking fire. Fire, fire, fire. And this is an old white shirt that I never wear. I'm never going to wear. It's 3M right here. And man, this is a great project. Now, this is just a shirt. I want to try to see what's going to happen with the pants. Let's see what happens.
So this is what ended up, before I get into the pants, this is what ended up being the real end result of the shirt. So the clip beforehand, when it had a lot more white in it, my goofy ass, I went and washed the shirt again, and I took all the color out of it, and it got really dull because I washed it with detergent. Man, don't do that. If you're going to do anything and put it in the wash, you want to put it in a rinse cycle. But I went ahead and redid the shirt again, and it came out like this. This is totally fine with me. I just wanted to see if I could do something like this. Now, I had to redo the pants again, too, because the pants came out too white, and they looked dirty and dingy. So this was the end result of the pants. Just make sure, guys, the key thing I want you guys to get from this is don't use any laundry detergent. Just try to rinse it out with your hand in the sink, or put it in a rinse cycle in your wash and hang dry. Don't add any chemicals or anything to it, and it'll come out looking this good. Right here. You know, you see I put a little outfit together with it. Gray sweatshirt. You know, yellow shirt. Got my Jordan 1s on. And look at that right there. You know, so here are the tips. Number one tip, guys. Guys, in order to apply that dye easy, get you some clear ketchup bottles and stuff to apply it, man. It'll make it a whole lot easier on you. Go to the dollar store, get some of those, Walmart, whatever. You should be able to get those. You got to get those. All right, number 2, you got to wet the material before applying it, man. You saw what happened earlier on in the video. All right, number 3, okay, you got to let the dye sit for at least 6 hours or more. Guys, I recommend that you let it sit for a day. But if you don't let that dye sit, man, it's going to bleed on and it's not going to look right. And then when you try to rinse it, it's just going to turn all into the darkest color that you have applied on the dye. So let it sit for a while, as long as possible. Don't be impatient like I was, man, and then it'll come out great. All right, number 4, okay, you got to rinse it in cold water or either in vinegar, okay, or get some of that red dye, color stay fixative. Okay, just try. I know when you're doing it, you're gonna think, "Oh man, this dye is never gonna come out." All right, just try to get out as much as possible when you do that. That dye fixative keeps it from bleeding real bad. You see how good this shirt looks, and if I would have known better, I would have just let this shirt on this image right here at this point. I would have just let it hang dry. It would have came out completely perfect, but I wasn't patient, and yeah, man, just let it rinse. Don't put it in the wash with detergent. Number 5, okay, like I said, man, do not, if you want your shirt to stay out, when you're done rinsing it out in the sink or whatever you do, if you want your colors to stay vibrant and pretty, okay, do not wash this with detergent in the wash. It will completely mess it up. Now, y'all know you thinking like, man, when am I going to wash it? Wash it later on down the line once that dye sits in there and it dries in there, and then you'll be able to put it in the wash. You're still going to lose some color, but not as much as you would if you didn't wait to do that. All right? And for the initial application of the dye and all that good stuff, okay, and after you rinse it, don't put it in the dryer because it may stain your dryer. Just go ahead and hang dry the garment. It'll let the dye sit into the shirt, and the next time you go to wash it, if you do get it dirty, okay, make sure you wash it by itself so it doesn't smear on any of your other stuff. And, you know, the colors will stay in there. By the time you let it dry, the colors will stay in there and it'll be all good, all right? So don't be a dummy like me and mess up by washing it too fast or not letting the dye stay in there long enough, man. You'll regret it, and it end up turning. If you're doing a red shirt, the whole shirt will turn red if you don't let the dye sit in there long enough. If you're doing a dark green shirt and have other bright colors, the whole shirt will turn dark green if you don't let the colors sit in there at least a day and then rinse it out in the sink. Okay. Also, put the garment, which I should have said earlier, put the garment inside of a trash bag when you're letting it sit, or inside of a Ziploc bag, and it'll hold in the color. All right, that's pretty much it, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope you like this video. Thumbs up if you like stuff like this, and remember, you're the flyest motherfucker on earth. I'll see y'all later. You heard?